In today's one question, I'm addressing a very common issue in every household, which is the fight between brothers and sisters, or sisters and sisters, brothers and so on. This has probably been one of the most common questions across my entire career. And so I'd like to answer this in three ways. One, from the traditional perspective. Two, from the developmental perspective, and three, from something that has given me a lot of success as a therapist. So let me start with the first perspective, which you will find in every practical blog or developmental psychology textbook, which says that this is called sibling rivalry, that children tend to feel jealous of each other and they're fighting for the parents' attention or care. However, this is not the only reason why children fight, and though it may be true that some children do fight or get into conflicts because they want the parents to pay attention to them, that's not always the case. The second reason is, for example, developmentally, children go through certain stages, and one of the examples is the egocentricity period, that is between the ages of 2 and 7, where children can only understand their own perspective of things. So for them to understand that they can share, that they can be with somebody else can be hurt by their actions and so on, does not exist. So this is when, when one child is playing with a particular toy, the other child wants the exact toy, and though you may give them something equivalent, they come back to fight for the same toy. And this is something that we need to understand as developmentally appropriate. So children who fight for the same toy are not doing so because they don't have toys, but because they understand everything from their own perspective and cannot take another perspective. Another developmental example, teenagers want their own privacy and do not want to necessarily spend time with a younger sibling. And many times parents make this mistake of saying, go and play with your brother, go and play with your sister. And developmentally, they are adolescents and these are younger children. So this kind of age-related developmental change can also cause issues with fights between siblings. I'd like to share with you something that has worked very well for me as a therapist, and something that has assisted me in understanding these conflicts from a fresh perspective. Two individuals, unique in every sense, are born in the same house. Somehow, all the adults around them assume that they should be able to work together without any fighting. How is that possible? So these conflicts between siblings can, in many ways, be ways in which we accommodate the uniqueness in our personality. Let's assume that one person is cluttered and the other one likes things to be neat and organized. The conflict is going to bring a middle path. In another situation, one could be a loud extroverted person and the other could be a quiet introverted person, and both of them have their own realities. However, when they need to work together, they need to find middle ground. The one who's introverted and always inward needs to sort of come out of that shell and say, okay, I'm going to be able to do this with you. And the one who's extroverted and loud needs to probably say, okay, let me calm down these aspects and work with you. Many of these conflicts actually are finding the middle ground. When we understand this uniqueness and assist our children empathetically, they also develop skills in which their own empathy is developed over a period of time. Nature creates sibling relationships to help people understand what battles are worth fighting and when a compromise is required, when assertiveness is required, and when they need to walk away from something that has no resolution. They understand how to work outside the home when there's a conflict situation because they have the experience of working through conflicts in a relationship at home, and these are very, very important lessons when we look at interpersonal relationships long term. If you're planning to have a baby, please ensure that the elder child knows that there's going to be an addition to the family. During the pregnancy, during the delivery, and post the delivery, there are some changes that will happen at home. Make sure that you let your elder one know that these changes will happen. Involve them in as many ways as you can without making them your unpaid helper. So what you need to do is to make it bonding moments and not moments where you say you have to do this because you're the elder one, you need to take care of your younger sibling and so on. That's very unfair because both of them are children and both of them will have emotional needs. Secondly, Make sure that you are in a position where you let guests know that there's a elder child as well. So if they're coming in and you know them well enough, let them know that they can bring gifts for the elder one as well as the younger one, if that is something that they can do. If not, have gifts ready at home so that the elder one will not feel left out. And third, what you may need to do is to spend quality time with the elder one whenever it's possible. Your elder one, who was the center of all your attention, does not feel left out. At any point they communicate that they're feeling low or they want to play with you, try and make time. I know many times it may be difficult, but this bonding is extremely important, because building security around relationships and in relationships is very, very important. Once the second child is born, make sure that you spend at least 15 minutes of quality time with your elder child, making sure that they feel as secure as they can. Don't punish them, don't threaten them, don't make them feel guilty for having needs. Their emotional needs are very, very important. When children get into fights, please make sure that you refrain from playing the referee or the umpire or the judge. Intervene only if there is violence. Verbal spats, verbal fights, make sure that they are able to calm down and work through it. If you actually look at it, most children, because they want to play with each other, they will find a way to make up even if there's a conflict. What you shouldn't do is, for example, if both of them are fighting for a particular cricket bat, both of them are fighting for a particular video game, don't buy 2 games and expect them to go into isolation. This way of dealing with the conflict actually cuts off any form of communication that can arise and can lead to development of skills for conflict resolution. Intervene only if there is violence, and at that point you need to remain calm. Don't shame, don't punish, don't make them feel bad for having emotions like anger, which are essential to the human experience. When you remain calm, it helps children co-regulate. It helps them understand that in a calm frame of mind, it's easier to resolve a conflict. Research has shown that children who get into conflicts usually are in families where aggression and conflicts are the only ways in which they've seen the adults negotiate through relationships. So if you notice that the adult relationships in the family are following this model, it may help to also work through your other relationships, so children are able to see that even if we disagree on certain things, we are not disrespectful, rude, we are not doing the silent treatment, we are not using toxic ways of dealing with it and finding solutions. It's important for them to realize that communication is being used when they're calmer to work through any conflict. In spite of all of the efforts that you make, if children are unable to resolve the conflicts, you may need to, as a family, seek professional help. A counselor can play the role of the mediator to help each one in the equation understand where they may need to make changes. Though there will never be a shortcut to working through relationships, every interaction gives us the opportunity to build upon something and to build something that's precious and valuable. I hope you are able to navigate through this. My book, Parenting Innocence to InnerSense, is available across e-commerce websites. I would suggest that you could read the chapter on sibling rivalry, and you will find a lot of insight in that as well. For those of you who've read the book, I'd be really grateful if you can leave a review on the e-commerce website where you purchased the book. Thank you so much for watching.